Here are the top 5 most overrated players in fantasy football for the upcoming National Football League season. All right, who's going too high in fantasy football drafts? Here are the top 5 fantasy football most overrated players this season. Our first most overrated player, I guess, you know what? Let's start at the bottom and work our way up on this one. Coming in at number 5 for being overrated is Alvin Kamara. 38th overall in draft according to ADP. That number coming from Fantasy Pros, by the way. Going as RB 16 right now. I think he is still a talented running back, but the rest of this offense looks dreadful. And I know that sometimes, a friend of the show, Chris Harris, talks about how we're really bad at assessing what these situations are, and we can be. I feel pretty confident that this one's going to suck this year out in New Orleans. The quarterback battle has been uninspiring at best. Kellen Moore, I think there was a time where this was a guy who was the next one as a head coaching candidate, but I think there's a reason that it took a few places to give him a job before he finally got this head coaching one. And I think you have a new era with a new front office and a new head coach who weren't responsible for bringing Kamara in. So it's a bad offense that is not necessarily motivated to give him the football a ton. I just think there's going to be quite a bit of a step back. Now, RB16, that ain't killing you. 38th overall, so we're talking about late third, early fourth round pick. But we did the mock draft the other day. You're already starting to pass up on some pretty interesting options there. So I just think that he is... this one isn't as egregious as some of the other ones. I think he is, though, a touch overrated. So he is the 5th most overrated player on the list. Coming in at number 4, it's Tyreek Hill, 28th overall, going as the wide receiver 12. Talked about it in the overrated teams section. I think that he is going to be a part of an offense that I'm just very concerned with. I think that they were big play and explosive a couple of years ago, but they have designed the offense now to let Tua get the ball out of his hands as quickly as possible. He was the quickest in the NFL to do it last year, and they were talking about how he needs to do it quicker this year. I think you have a player also who just, quite frankly, didn't want to be there after the season ended, and while I am sure that all of that is water under the bridge now and everything like that, this is still not a situation that I think is perfect for him. He had a abysmal offseason when it came to being a human being, and I think there's a chance he's taken a step back as well. So all of that is to say, that is not a dude I'm looking to be drafting. At 28th overall, again, we're talking about back part of the second round, early third round. No, not doing that. Not a chance. I'm looking at Tyreek Hill this season. The next 3, all in the first round. So, just taking a couple of big shots here. But before we get to those, a reminder that things are always changing with Couch Potato Diary. So make sure you give me a follow on social media. I am at Primetime Klein on Instagram, X, TikTok, Blue Sky, and on Threads. Our third most overrated player in fantasy football this season is Ashton Jeanty. He is going 10th overall right now as running back number 4. I think he is incredibly talented. I just want to say this. This is not a comment on the kid's talent at all. And by the way, I have the first overall pick in a very deep keeper league that I'm playing in. I am so excited to have this guy on my keeper team for the next 15 years. I'm so excited to have this guy. I think he is remarkably talented, and I think he's going to be great, and I can see why people are excited about him. That being said, while the offense is improved with the Vegas Raiders, I don't think it is going to be improved enough to be able to sustain a top 5 tight end in Brock Bowers and a top 5 running back in Ashton Jeanty. So I think that with the offensive line, maybe the running attempts aren't going to be there as often. He is still going to be valuable in the passing attack, but I think we need to chill a little bit on how excited we're getting about Ashton Jeanty, and having him as a first round pick, I think is probably just a little bit too high for my blood. So he comes in as the number 3 most overrated player in fantasy football this season. At number 2, it is Puka Nakua, 8th overall as wide receiver number 5. Again, this is not a comment on the kid's talent. I think he's really good as a wide receiver. I am worried that Matthew Stafford has had back problems until a day ago in training camp. I think that is going to be something that is just kind of prevalent all season long. And if it's not him, then it is Jimmy Garoppolo. And while I think that would be good target share wise for Nakua, I just think the overall offense is going to suffer around that. And then I think Devontae Adams is going to be taking some looks away. And I think Adams is in that sweet spot of he is still a big name and he is still good, so he is going to take the targets away. But I don't think he is going to be the focus of the game plan. So I think Nakua is still, is still going to have all of the focus and all the attention that a number one receiver would get from defenses, while also losing some of the volume because you have a legitimate number two over there. So I'm kind of projecting that it's kind of the worst of both worlds for Nakua. And my number one most overrated player in fantasy football for the upcoming season is Jahmyr Gibbs, 4th overall, running back 3. He was able to just go off last year because of injuries and everything like that. They have, as far as I know, David Montgomery back in that backfield this season. And I look at an offensive line that I think got quite a bit worse as this offseason went on with Ragnow going out. You have an offensive coordinator who is not as good as the one that you had from last year. I just don't think this is going to be as dominant of a season for Jahmyr Gibbs as people think it should be. Or as people were accustomed to from a season ago. I think he's really good. I think he's incredibly talented. I just don't think this is going to be the 4th best player in fantasy football for the upcoming season. So those are the most overrated players, in my opinion, in fantasy football for the upcoming season.